Good day, guys, Austin here, and in this one today, we're going to be taking a look at the newest update for RetroPie. Yes, it has been updated. Yes, it's updated near enough every day, but yes, this one is big. There is a hell of a lot of new stuff that has just been added, and it's going to make our RetroPie goodness even better. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So like I said, RetroPie has had an update. A update? Sounds like a dance. It's had an update, and well, let's face it, it's updated quite regularly, almost every day. However, those increments are usually quite small, and they normally bring around like what, a couple of extra configs, a couple of streamlining here and there, a few extra options. But this one, my friends, is huge. It's a very big one. It seems to have brought all the big updates that's been happening over the last couple of months in the more experimental stuff and the stuff that people have actually bringing in as more ideas and tests, and it's bringing them into huge packages, so it's all now in a one-er. So let me bring you through what has actually been introduced properly into the official RetroPie update. Okay then, first off then, DS emulation. It's been there for a while. However, now it's been upped, and I mean upped. In the past, it has been there, but it was jittery, it was slow, it was too problematic for me to even consider it as a full-on system to be included in any of my builds. It just wasn't stable enough. It didn't have the performance, and it didn't get my seal of approval, so I never used it. However, the guys over there have introduced Drastic. Now, this is one hell of a DS emulator. It's been the pioneer when it comes to the Android side of it all. If you've used Android emulation, you've probably used Drastic before. You'll know it's fast, it's stable, it can play games pretty damn well, and it is pretty damn compatible across the board with a hell of a lot of the Nintendo games. So it's an awesome addition to this. Now, I've not managed to test many games out, but from the few games that I have tested, it's full speed ahead. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it plays like a dream. The other thing I would say, at this moment, you do need to do a little bit of figuring around to actually get the configs to work in terms of the controllers and the exits and all that kind of stuff. It's not exactly a big deal. It takes 2 seconds. It would be nice if they actually introduced this set as standard, but I'll probably cover this in more detail in a dedicated video because I do think that this deserves it. Anyway, we move on. There's loads to get through here. Attract mode. We all know that attract mode's been in all kinds of people's builds. It has been out in the wild for a while, and it has been included in RetroPie for a while. However, unofficially, it's been included. Many of the times, it's people adding it onto their builds to make it work. Now, it's actually been introduced, so you can pick it in the options menu. It will install attract mode. It will set all the folder structures up as you want them, and to be honest, it's awesome. I love attract mode. But one little snag that's been starting to sneak in now. Attract mode is beautiful. You've got so many options. There's so many possibilities and things that you can do with that front end. However, one thing I have noticed is that, excuse the language, but people have just been throwing so much shit at it, and some of it sticks, looks beautiful, and accompanies, and I don't know, it gives it enough justice to be a front end. But then some people just throw so much of that S word at it, and it just falls off the wall. If you're going to use a front end, make it look good. Make it all bind together. Don't just throw 10 billion systems at it, 10 godzillion games at it, and make it say that this is the ultimate whatever it is ever, because it's not. It's just a big jumbled mess of crap that takes 10 years to actually find one game, and it looks disgusting while you're doing it. Who knows if it'll actually play the game when you do find it, because it's been ill-configured. Put it in properly. If you're going to involve it in a build, take your time and build it from the ground up. Don't just throw stuff into it. Anyway, again, we're waffling on, we digress. Other than that then, we've got video support. If you guys have been downloading my image with the Genesis, you'll see that it's been in there for a while now. However, again, it's now become official, it's now in there. You can now have videos, not just snaps and box art and all that kind of stuff. You can show full video footage, in your game list. So as you're scrolling through, you can see the footage of the actual games. It looks beautiful, and it's what's been screaming out for this front end for a long time. In my opinion, the only thing that they need to add to this now is wheels, but they need to do it nicely. You know, it's like the attract mode thing again. Wheels look beautiful, but if you do them badly, they look terrible and they can ruin the front end. So yeah, I think that's the only addition that needs to come for that stuff. But the video introduction on this, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay then, startup images. This is basically when you load a game, it will give you a splash screen saying whatever you want it to be honest. A lot of the time it just says game loading on the system, but you can personalize this and put anything you want to do in terms of the theming that you set up. So it's a big option, it's a nice addition, that's now in there. Also, they fixed the white screen of death, which is a beautiful addition. Now, in the past, you can have whatever themes you want. You can add all the systems you want in the world. However, on certain themes, if you add more than a certain amount of systems, it usually came into, I think it's anywhere between 5 and 10 systems set up. It would load theming for some of it, and then all of a sudden everything would just turn white and shonky and disgusting. It wasn't a good thing, so it didn't allow you to use certain themes, or it wouldn't allow you to put a certain amount of systems on there. It limited you, but apparently it's now fixed. I haven't tested that one out yet, so I can't really put my name to it, but if they've been saying it's fixed, I believe them. Other than that then, support for the Pi Zero W. This is the new version of the little tiny Zero. It's now got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth stuff. That tiny Raspberry Pi Zero, it gives you so many options, especially when you're putting them inside your NES controllers or your little cartridges or in anything else. It's it's smaller than a credit card, and yet it's got so much power at your fingertips. It's beautiful. Okay then, we've got Kodi 17, so yeah, it's always had Kodi, but now it's running Kodi Krypton, I think it is, 17 as standard. It's nice. I'm not a big fan of the new Kodi, to be honest, but hey, it's one of them new things that I suppose you have to get used to. RetroArch has been updated to 1.5. This is big. This is really big. I'm loving this new RetroArch. It looks no different. There's been a few tweaks here and there, but in terms of compatibility and stuff like this, you've got so many options now in terms of cores. You've got so many options that you can do in terms of your games, in terms of systems and all that kind of stuff. This in itself requires a dedicated video, and I will be covering RetroArch in general, not just on the Raspberry Pi, but in general. But this new version of 1.5 RetroArch is beautiful. And now it means that we could actually take our little tiny Raspberry Pis and play them online against each other with a lot of ease. Something which I hope to be demoing with a YouTuber pretty soon if I ever get around to it. But yeah, awesome edition, awesome. Another one then, and a big one for me, is Amiga compatibility. Now again, we've had Amiga stuff in there for ages. It's always been playable. I think it was a UAE. Well, that's been updated, and now there's another version of that called AmigaBarry. AmigaBarry? I can't even pronounce that. But what this allows you to do is exactly the same as the UAE stuff, but it's streamlined it all. First off, the compatibility is a lot better. The actual playability in terms of the speed and how the games are playing, a lot better. The controls seem to be less junky and a lot more fluid. So when you load a game, there's less messing around. Everything just seems to work. That's the main thing. The thing is with the Amiga is that you got thousands and thousands of games, and trying to get one emulator to try and get them all working can be hard work, especially when it comes to that side of the control side of it, because some games do, I don't know, mouse and keyboard, some just do keyboard, some just do mouse, some do joystick, some do all kinds of different joysticks. So having the compatibility in place that can kind of streamline that is awesome, and that's what this one seems to be doing very well. That and the fact that it now does multi-disc zip files. So for those of you who've got, I don't know, loads and loads of games, these thousands that I was just talking about, often those thousands of games also have 3 or 4 discs per game. Now, loading a game up, and even before you get to the splash screen, you got to change disc. It can be very monotonous in the past. Now, because you can zip them all together, all the discs into one file per game, it means that it does it all for you. You literally load a game and you play the game. That is it. There's no changing discs, no nothing. And that is how they should be played. Unless, of course, you want to go real retro and actually change the discs like you did do back in the day. There's certain things I love from my past and there's certain things I'd rather forget. Changing discs every 2 seconds is one of them that I'd pretty much rather forget. Although I do love the little discs. Okay, then other than that, then we have got probably the last thing, which is USB drives. You can now pretty much plug a USB hard drive into your Raspberry Pi, and it will automatically not just transfer your ROMs from that USB into your actual ROM lists or ROM sets, but it will make it into a external hard drive, so you can literally play from that hard drive. Now, something that was in the past is the fact that the SD cards, they're tiny, and they are now growing and growing, and they are getting cheaper. But you're kind of limited to, I don't know, once you start going past 64 gigs, then they start getting pretty expensive. And if you was to go to 120, is it 124? Oh, 128, that's it. I can't even remember. When you start getting into that kind of realm, things start getting really pricey. Over that, and it's really, really pricey. So if you think about once you start adding your disk space systems, or if you've got big sets, especially when you get to the fact of like PlayStation and stuff like that, if you've got a whole set of PlayStation games, then you're not going to fit that on your little tiny SD card. The ability to plug a little hard drive into there, even a pen drive, USB drive or something like that, even a flash drive, can help in that kind of stuff, and it gives you more options when you're trying to build your systems and your little retro house of goodness. So that's it then, guys. Hopefully that's brought you up to date. That's ticked a few boxes, and it's got rid of some of my backlog of information that I'm trying to get out to you guys. There's still a lot more to go. Now I've got my studio up and running. I should be knocking these out in no time. Yeah, I'm not going to waffle anymore. You've been in this video for long enough. But it's been a pleasure, as always, bringing it to you guys. Please like, please subscribe. Please do all the things that people do on YouTube, especially when RetroPie do huge, awesome updates like they've done today. But most of all, you have a good day. Laters!